Hey guys, Mr. Conley here, checking in with you on Elearning Day 17, I believe. And so I just wanted to go over a few things because today is Thursday, and you know that means it's Theological Thursday, right? I know you guys are as stoked as I am because I love theology. It's fun and it's interesting, and I hope you guys have learned something from last week and from this week. But before we dive into today's theological issue, I want to go over a few things with the 6th grade. Guys, the video presentations that you guys were supposed to do, I keep getting, submissions for like the written thing. It's a video assignment, so please make sure that you are doing a video. The instructions are on Canvas. I talked about it in my YouTube video on Tuesday. Please make sure you're doing a video. I said you can write out a summary. That's what you could have done the first day so that you knew what you were talking about when you go to present it. And I gave it to you for 2 days because that way you can coordinate with parent, grandparent, sibling, whomever, so that way you can, coordinate with them and actually do it. So hopefully you guys are having any issues. I still getting people sending them to email. I'm not sure why on that, but you need to submit it if you can. If you're having problems, send me an email and we'll try to figure it out, okay? So anyway, 8th grade, I hope you guys are doing good. I got most of you guys' similarities and differences that you guys were supposed to be working on yesterday. So great job on that. So a few things. One, if you have not seen or heard or watched, a few of the middle school teachers have gotten together and we did this thing called Middle School Minutes. And so it's actually on YouTube, and the link will actually be in the description down there somewhere. So go ahead and click on that and watch that, and hopefully you guys enjoy that. I got a pro tip on there for you. Hopefully you enjoy that as well. Anyway, so for today we're going to hop into Theological Thursday. Now, some of you guys, or all of you guys actually, should have watched and gone through that PowerPoint or slideshow from last week. And we talked about who is Jesus Christ, right? Some of the things that we discussed on there were these covenants or promises that God made with his people. And we've talked about covenants. I know we have in 6th grade very extensively, and I know we've talked about them as well in 8th grade as well. But it's a promise that God has made with his people. And so that's one of the things that they talked about in last week's video. We talked about how Noah and God, how Noah and then how God had promised to never flood the whole earth again. We talked about Abraham and then how God promised to create a specific people that will live in a certain area, right? That's one of the covenants. That's the Abrahamic covenant, okay? We talked about Moses and how the people of Israel would be this special group of people that will have access to God, and then the Lord will actually be their God. Those are the covenants that he had with Moses. And then we also talked about David and how there will be an eternal king that will be from David's line. That's the Davidic covenant. So those are the 4 covenants that we discussed last week when we were talking about who is Jesus Christ. So hopefully you guys, this is jogging your memory because this should all be review. Now, when Jesus came as a man, what he did was he actually came to fulfill all the things the covenants promised, but then just so much more. So that was the thing. He came so that he could do it better, right? Those covenants were with man, and man fails sometimes, and we see that. We see through, Noah's life how he messed up after God made the covenant with him. But the covenant still stood true because God stays true. We see how Abraham did some really shady things and some really messed up stuff, and God's promise still stayed true even though he messed up. Moses, we see him doing some things that he shouldn't have either, right? He didn't listen to God, or he got angry, all those things, but yet God's promise still stayed true. And then David, a man after God's own heart, somebody who was just a great man, but yet a murderer, an adulterer, right? Like, he did some really nasty, horrible things. And so even though that's the case, man's sin do not make God's promises void, right? They don't just erase them, because that wouldn't make any sense, right? But what happens is that God sends his son, Jesus Christ, to fulfill all those covenants, to come down and to fulfill those, but then just so much more. He did so much more than these covenants, right? We talk about in the Bible sometimes, like if I was going to have the Hall of Fame, like the Bible Hall of Fame, we would see, Noah up there, and we would see Abraham and Moses and David. Like, we would see them, but just like when you look at like baseball's Hall of Fame, there's a lot of people in there that did some shady stuff probably, and they've gotten in there, and even now it's hard for some people to get in there because they've done some messed up stuff. But either way, where man fails, God remains the same, and God remains true, and God remains perfect, and God still loves us. All right, and so those were a lot of the things that we talked about last week. And so when moving from how the Old Testament kind of sets the stage for the New Testament and for Jesus to come in and kind of fulfill all this stuff, we talk about this thing, and here's your theological word from last week, the incarnation, right? And the incarnation, which actually means taking on flesh, right? That's what Jesus is. And so when we talk about Jesus as incarnate, we sing about it in Christmas time, those kind of things. That's what it's talking about how he took on flesh. He is incarnate. He is God-man, right? He is God in person, God in flesh, okay? And so that's what we talk about, or that's what we mean when we talk about the incarnation. So the question then, what we need to ask is, why did Jesus, the Son of God, become human? And that's what we're going to be talking about today. Why in the world would he leave his throne? Why would he leave perfection to come down, to be born of a virgin, to live a sinless life, and then to suffer, die, resurrect, and then ascend, all for us? And that's what we're going to be discussing today. It's an amazing story if you guys don't already know it, which I'm sure you do, but it's so great to see. And so for today, what I need you guys to do, if you haven't already logged in Canvas and gone on today's assignment, is you need to go on there and follow along with the slideshow. There's some, open it in a separate tab, just like you did last week. There's going to be some answers on Canvas, or some questions that you need to answer on Canvas based off that video clip that's in that slideshow. And so please make sure you do that. If you have any questions, or maybe if you've got any theological issues you want to ask about or whatever, feel free to send me an email. You can comment on this video down below. If you want to do that, that's fine too. But we're going to keep doing Theological Thursday till the rest of the school year. There's a few more things that we're going to be covering. And so hopefully you guys are enjoying this. I know I am. I love theology, and I love learning about God and who he is and how he interacts with man. I really think it just helps us get a firm grasp on who God really is and how he interacts with his creations. So that's the plan. I hope you guys are doing great. I love you guys. I miss you guys so much. I really do. And I'm praying for you guys daily. I hope that life is going okay for you. I hope that through this time you're being able to learn more about Jesus, that you're being able to get closer to him, that you've been given some extra time to spend with him. And I hope you're not avoiding that. I hope you're actually taking advantage of this time, because this isn't always going to be the norm. Well, hopefully it will never be the norm again. But take advantage of that time. Spend time with God. Help him, or let him help you, and let him work in your life. Because that's my number one goal as a teacher, but also as a Bible teacher, is for you to know Christ and to make him known. So hopefully that's something that is working in your life. And if you'd like to talk more about that, you guys know you can hit me up. I would love to speak with you about that. Anyway, guys, I hope you have a great day, a great weekend. For those of you who are all caught up after today, then you've got tomorrow off. Enjoy it. Take some time, get away from a screen, because I don't know about you, but I am sick of staring at a computer. And so take some time away from that. Go read a book. Go run if that's something that you enjoy. Alex, Maddie, Katie, Adeline, I think you enjoy running too, weirdos. Anyway, go do something else other than staring at a screen. But if you're not caught up, finish that up so you can go do something else. All right? So enjoy your weekend, and I will talk to you guys on Monday. And just have a wonderful weekend. Love you guys.